Jimmy Smith, this time with my UFC 302 picks and predictions. If you saw earlier my breakdown of Dustin Poirier and what I think his future is going to be and his success level against Islam Makhachev is a big part of that, right? We know it's his last dance, probably his last fight in MMA, period. But can he pull it off? Now, the problem with 302, as I start from the beginning, is there are a lot of long odds fights here. Right, a lot of really heavy favorites. What I'm trying to do, obviously, is make you a little bit of money at something. And the problem is, when I'm looking at this card, I'll give you my opinions of who I think wins. But beyond that, a lot of times the winner isn't going to be the person who makes you any money. You might have to take some gambles on some long shots here. I will explain everything in a minute. So we start off on the main card with Randy Rude Boy Brown versus Eleazar Zaleski dos Santos. Here's the deal: when you look at the money line, it's Randy Brown minus 180, right? So he's almost a 2-1 favorite. He's 6'3". He's a powerful striker. When he does it well and is organized and kind of like gets everything to flow together, he's a great fighter. His tendency to use the wrong tactic at the wrong time, kind of a low fight IQ problem, that's been his issue so far in his UFC career. The thing about Zaleski dos Santos is he's kind of cut from similar cloth, where I don't have faith in really either guy's ability to win difficult fights where they have to make really good decisions, if that makes sense. For example, Dos Santos had a terrible performance against Li Jinglong after beating Sean Strickland, actually finished him. Curtis Millender is a very tough guy, and then he loses to Li Jinglong, a guy I don't have any faith in. Loses to Muslim Salikov. He's on a 2-fight win streak. Got a draw on his last one. Yeah, I got a win over Benoit Saint-Denis. All right, that's aged pretty well, but the thing is that he's a 170-pounder. Benoit Saint-Denis does his best work at 155. This is one of those where what's going to be a theme today is I have a little bit more faith in Randy Rude Boy Brown, not 2-1 faith, right? I believe Dos Santos, especially with guys that don't always make the best decision, they can run into a shot. We'll discuss Sean Strickland in a minute. But for the money, and once again, it's almost 2-1 in favor of Rude Boy Brown. I don't like those odds. For the money, I got to go with Dos Santos, right? You can get plus 150 on him. I think that makes more sense. The under 2.5 is plus 114. Dos Santos in the under, Randy Brown, talented fighter, tends to make tactical mistakes. For the money, I'm going with Dos Santos. Nico Price versus Alex Morano. Nico Price, tall, rangy, has some talent on the feet, awkward build, long reach, but he's lost 3 out of his last 4, including to Robbie Lawler in his retirement fight. Look, if you lose Robbie Lawler in his retirement fight, the last one, and he got knocked out and got knocked out quickly. Never had a ton of faith in Nico Price. He's just not really strong enough at 170. That build, it can be a little funky, but when it comes to power, training with big guys, it's not going to work very much. Alex Morano is one of those. He's a big, strong guy at 170. Hits very, very hard. That might be the kryptonite for Nico Price. Let me see the odds here on DraftKings, and it is Nico Price plus 210, Alex Morano minus, once again, 258. I don't know why they like that number. But once again, Alex Morano, huge favorite. You got to go with Alex Morano. Under 2.5, you get minus 145. That isn't great, but that's the best you're going to get is minus 145 on the under. Don't think this one goes over. I would take Alex Morano in the under if you can make money. I'm trying to look for you ways for you guys to make money on a card that is really, really skewed odds-wise. So, Kevin Holland versus Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Once again, minus 200, plus 235, a 2-1 favorite. Is Kevin Holland a 2-1? Should he be a 2-1 favorite against just about anyone? Not that he isn't good. Not that he doesn't have his moments. He doesn't have that next level elite consistency. Now, Oleksiejczuk is more of a grinder. So it isn't the fact that Kevin Holland's going to run into something stupid and get finished like I think Rude Boy Brown might. I don't have a lot of faith in his decision-making ability. I think against mid-level guys, he tends to find a way to win. I think MVP, by the way, his last fight against Michael Venom Page, he lost that one. Michael Venom Page is just better with the stand-up than people give him credit for. And Kevin Holland's not a great wrestler. Has a good submission game. He can catch you. But he's not a D1 wrestler. He's not going to make any Olympic teams. So the idea that his submission game might be the X factor, it's possible, but he's also doesn't have the wrestling to take you down when he absolutely needs to. Oleksiejczuk was a guy who kind of was a grinder at 205. It tended to work a little bit. Went down to 185. He's had his problems. I just don't see the physical ability to keep up with an explosive guy like Kevin Holland. So even though he's a 2-1 favorite, I'm going with Kevin Holland. You can make money on the under. Under 1.5 is plus 114. And I'm looking at DraftKings, by the way. That might be the way to go, where Kevin Holland, when he does win, he does tend to catch you early. He can be very explosive. I would go the under, and I would take Kevin Holland in this one. There you go. Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. Once again, we're seeing just incredible odds in this one. Minus 258 for Sean Strickland, plus 210 for Paulo Costa. Put a gun to my head, I'd say Sean Strickland probably wins. For the betting line, Sean Strickland, the gripe I have with this guy is he's a great boxer, one of the best pure boxers in MMA. That's not saying a whole lot. There aren't a lot of great pure boxers out there. But he just tends to make, once again, the wrong decision at the wrong time. He did it against Alex Pereira when all he had to do was use his MMA skills. That's it. Just don't stand and bang with a world-class kickboxer who is gigantic at 185 pounds. That's all you need to not do. What did he do? He stands up with Pereira, and we all know he got knocked out. So Sean Strickland, despite being a champion, right, as we know, huge upsetting Israel Adesanya, despite being a champion, he still has trouble. And he said that, by the way, at the press conference. He's like, I can win this as long as I don't make a mistake, but I'm prone to making mistakes. So put a gun to my head. I'm going with Sean Strickland. For the money line, it makes no sense. Once again, looking at DraftKings, minus 258 on Sean Strickland, 2.5 favorite. On the other side, I have no faith in Paulo Costa at 185 pounds. I just don't. He's big, he's strong, he's super muscular. Great, wonderful. That and, a couple bucks to get you out on the subway, all right? Against next-level talent, Israel Adesanya, Marvin Vettori, Robert Whittaker, lost all of them by comfortable margins. The win over Luke Rockhold was a spent force at 185. I don't think he ever should have done that comeback. I don't think he'd ever come back to combat sports. So he won that fight, but Luke Rockhold had no gas, was done by the middle of the first round, and hung on long enough to stay in it while everybody, oh my God, his heart. He didn't have any gas in that fight. I don't have a lot of faith in Paulo Costa. I just don't. So I'm going with Sean Strickland, but with the money, right, it's just either stay away from this completely or go with Paulo Costa, and you're basically betting that Sean Strickland makes some kind of mistake against a big puncher. The problem is Paulo Costa isn't versatile enough. He can't do a lot of things. He throws these strong punches, but they're pretty loopy. They're pretty easy to see. Strickland has this kind of what they call the Philly shell in boxing. Pretty good defensively. I don't see Paulo Costa catching him with a big shot just because he only throws really basic punches. And he just hits really super hard. That's not the kind of style that's going to bring the weaknesses out in Sean Strickland, where he would have to make a pretty big mistake tactically to get caught and dropped by Paulo Costa. What's the under here? It's 4.5. The under 4.5 is minus 125. Over is minus 105. So you're not making plus money. Really, can't really bet on the finish and make any money. By the way, it's a 5-round fight. This is a either have faith in Paulo Costa as, all right, he clipped Sean Strickland with something big, or stay away from this one. It just doesn't make any sense to take Sean Strickland at minus 258 when he just makes a lot of mistakes tactically. That there's always a chance that he kind of plays down to his opposition and just does something dumb. And that might be the issue here. But, Sean Strickland should win this. He's right when he talks about his fight. As long as I don't really screw up, I should win. Well, the only problem is he tends to occasionally do that anyway. So that gets us on to the main event. Dustin Poirier, Islam Makhachev. Good luck. This is Islam minus 650 on DraftKings. Dustin Poirier plus 470. Is he worth an underdog bet? Maybe. I would say no. But the under is minus 200. That's under 2.5. If you want to make money, I go with the over 2.5, simply because Dustin Poirier is durable. Maybe you're betting on the fact that he doesn't screw up early. Almost everyone is going with Islam Makhachev for obvious reasons. He's just a better fighter. Also, I want to explain something that I'm sure a lot of people are going to disagree with, and please let me know what you think in the comment section. Get ready to not like this. Heart is overrated. There, I said it. Heart is overrated. Why do I say that? I have interviewed hundreds of fighters over my career in combat sports. I have seen fighters break down and cry. They wanted to win a fight so bad. I need this. This is everything to me. This is my kid's education and my life, and I needed it. And just go in there against a better guy and get crushed. We all want the Rocky story, right? We want, it's his last fight. He's such a blood and guts warrior. He can do it. The times I've seen heart propel a fighter over someone who was tactically much better, I can count on one hand. And I've been doing this for like 15 years. It's really rare that someone has so much heart that it gets them over someone who's really just better. The better fighter usually wins 9 times out of 10. And so this idea that Dustin Poirier has so much heart and is so tough, all those things are true. Look at Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier. Charles Oliveira had a problem with heart, right? He had a problem that, you push him really hard, I think he can fold. But he's super duper talented. Went on that win streak, seemed to deal with the heart issue a little bit. He did improve that. And got in there against Dustin Poirier and choked him out. So this idea of, my heart's going to get me through, usually it does. If you didn't have a heart, you wouldn't even be in the UFC. You wouldn't be a professional fighter. You don't get to the level. You don't get a title shot. You don't become champion. So this idea of Poirier fans, how he has so much heart, he can do all this stuff. Yeah, but it rarely propels you, in my experience, up over somebody who is tactically better. And Islam Makhachev is tactically better. Also, coming off the Benoit Saint-Denis fight, I picked him to win that fight, and he did. Great. Made everybody money. But he got housed in that first round. Housed. So a lot of people are saying, look, which is true, if he has the performance he had against Benoit Saint-Denis, against Islam Makhachev, he gets finished in the first round. Maybe the first minute in the first round. Remember, Benoit Saint-Denis was all over him, and Benoit Saint-Denis doesn't have the ground skills of Islam Makhachev, doesn't have the experience, doesn't have the size, doesn't have any of it. And he lost the fight because he ran out of gas, okay? Islam's not running out of gas, right? Now, a lot of people are going to point out the Alexander Volkanovski fight. I really believe in that first fight, he underestimated Alexander Volkanovski. Now, another thing, underestimating someone and not preparing well are two different things. My first fight, I prepared like a mother effer, but I got in there against a guy named Matt Stanzel, and it turns out he was a lot bigger than he was in his first fight. So it took me by surprise. I still won. Right? I still won by unanimous decision. But this idea of, oh, crap, this wasn't what I was ready for. This dude was big. We became friends after that. He spent a long time working out in between his last fight and me. And it's a similar kind of thing. He prepared. Obviously, he had gas against Volkanovski. He didn't run out of gas. He seemed tactically ready to go. It was just, he wasn't quite prepared for the aggression of Alexander Volkanovski. We saw in the second fight, he just dominated. So a lot of people who are picking Dustin think the upset might happen. Well, he didn't look good against Volk. I think he learned a lot from that fight. I think he's more prepared this time around. I think if Dustin had a little more power, maybe I think he has a puncher's chance, is what a lot of people are saying. He's not a bad boxer. He's not a one-shot knockout guy. He has to overwhelm you, right? That's to keep the pressure on and you kind of fold. I don't see Islam losing that way. He's not going to catch him, I don't think, in the guillotine unless he takes a really bad takedown, and I don't see him doing that. You got to go with Islam Makhachev in this fight. So where do you make money? Even the under 2.5, which is when it probably happens, is minus 200. Go with the over. It's plus 154 if you get over 2.5 rounds. You're betting on Dustin's durability. If you want to make money, that's the only bet that makes sense. Hope I helped you all out. I will own my picks as always come Monday. You have a good one. Enjoy your weekend.